Everyone, it's Jenny and I'm here with Dixie Andelin Forsyth for a feminine moment, and we were just reminiscing about, I don't know, stories of moments that specifically me when I've misunderstood my husband and
And
so,
other stories, and
yeah,
other
and other
stories.
stories. So we're going to share with you some stories, and hopefully it'll help you along the way. So Dixie,
Okay.
I was really hurt one night because I went to extra care to make Jeff's favorite dinner, which is fried chicken, which I don't like making. It is, it's a mess. It's so unhealthy. I'm always trying to, eat healthy. And it seems like the grease gets everywhere,
I
including,
know.
and like, I hate making it, but he loves it. And so like I did it with the wax paper and then there's grease here and there's grease everywhere, whatever. And I went and I made homemade potato salad, like the best batch I've ever made in my life.
Which is a lot of work.
It does take,
It's
and
a
it,
lot of work,
it
yeah.
does. And to make it the way I do, it's like perfectly cooked potato, chilled at the very specific amount of time with the right, just everything. It tasted so good. So I'm thinking he is just going to love me so much. And we're going to have this great romantic evening because I have set up his favorite dinner. And I don't even think that night, which was unusual, that he even said, "Good dinner, honey." It was like one of the nights he probably was really tired and just kind of headed off, and I'm there to clean up this
So
grief.
he didn't say thank you, or he did?
I'm sure he did, but
Or said that was good?
actually, I don't remember. Normally, this is true. He would normally say something, but it's been,
Well, he ate it, right?
yeah. Oh, he ate it like a caveman. I mean, it was like,
Like a Viking.
yeah, he was like I knew he liked it. It was delicious. And then he's like, and I'm like, no hug, no thank you, no whatever. Like, let's clean the kitchen together. Like, sometimes I think, women, we romanticize things like, this is going to be a life-changing meal. But anyway,
So he was just gone, right?
yeah, he goes downstairs and watches TV without a thought. And I'm, mopping the floor because it has grease all over. And then the ceiling fan, which is like,
Yeah, I know.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it was a lot of.
I know. Every time I fry something, why is that my floor is always slippery? Yeah, I know.
And so anyway, in the way that Fascinating Womanhood has helped us all, or at least me, and people who read it, in understanding men and stopping thinking that they're going to respond to us as if a woman ate that same meal and she would appreciate all the thought that would most women, not all, right?
Yeah, well, women are more sensitive to negative emotion. They're more sensitive to positive. They're more relationship oriented. And so the problem is when we, just like what happened to you realize I was expecting a response from him that was a certain way. And you could tell that he enjoyed it because, like you said, he ate it like a caveman. So he obviously didn't just take one bite and leave. He ate it and then left you with the mess. Like, this was sort of anticlimactic. But I've talked to other women who've said they stay-at-home mothers. If they're lucky enough to be stay-at-home, they work, clean the house, make a nice meal every night, and he just eats it and
Yeah.
on to the next thing. And you're thinking, how come he doesn't appreciate this? Well, he might appreciate it, but men don't tend to be as verbal. Some men are, but a lot are not. And so we get upset when we think they didn't appreciate me because they didn't do it like women do it with each other. And so that's something that's something that we have. And so someone will say, how can I get him to be more like me? Well, you can't. And actually, if you did, there's a flip side to that coin. If he was more like you, he'd also have some of the things about you that you don't like.
Yeah.
Because you can't just I pick and choose these qualities in him, and I don't want these. So
yeah, that's such a great point. And I often thought of that because he's so easygoing and relaxed that I'm sort of a doer and overachiever, and he can be relaxed and he allows me that too, because it wasn't that he was thoughtless, if you want to call it that, But
Insensitive is
only
probably,
because he was stressed and tired, and there was probably a game on. I can't
well,
remember.
it didn't occur to him. It didn't
Yeah,
occur to him. It's not like he's a lout. But
right.
here's an example too. Reminds me of one of my family members told me years ago that she's very much OCD, everything in its place. My mother was very much that way, but she's even more so. And she was complaining one day or irritated because her husband, who's very laid back and fun-loving, he left a newspaper and a pair of shoes in the living room. She burst into tears and said, "You don't care how hard I work to keep this house clean." And he was like, "What?" He didn't even know. And she said she was thinking to herself, "I wish he was more like my father." Her father was very tidy, very organized, shoes all lined up in the closet. But her father also was kind of a stress ball, and he would get really upset if he walked in the kitchen and there were crumbs on the floor. There was something sticky on the floor. He just like what happened here? Where she realized that if she wished her husband was more like her father, he would probably also be more uptight, which she needed him to be relaxed and optimistic because she was too stressed out. So she realized there's a trade-off.
Yeah.
And so she began, what she did is she focused on what she was really grateful for in him, that he is naturally optimistic, everything's going to be okay kind of a guy. And the trade-off is he's not going to be the guy that's OCD.
And notice every little detail. Like that's the thing, when we're so great in the details of, and because I work from home and I'm taking care of my grandson or whatever, and all the little things that had to happen in order for me to get home and make sure everything is perfect. Like they wouldn't even think of those details.
Right. And for women, and you'll learn this in the new book, which you're helping to, is that for women, everything tends to be connected to everything else, which is why the woman that says, how come, or like you did, how come my husband didn't do this, which is, does that mean this? Does that mean this and this and this? And so, but men tend to be better at compartmentalizing and just good meal, great, shut the door, move on to the next.
I have a tendency to think, oh, he's mad at me or he doesn't love me anymore. Something pretty dramatic.
No, he's thinking,
ridiculous.
I just had dinner. You're right. It is insensitive, but we're the more sensitive ones. And if he was as sensitive as you, there'd be another trade-off.
Well, he'd be nitpicking about the grease all over, and then we'd spend 2 hours cleaning the kitchen.
I have to say,
Which would be a dream of mine, actually.
I am really grateful that Bob does not notice some things that I'm hard on myself with. I think he's not even going to notice that I didn't fold this batch of clothes, and he wouldn't.
Yeah. And if Jeff's like it too. It's awesome.
So, I mean, there's some, I've heard of them, husbands that, why didn't you sweep this floor? You didn't sweep it good. He doesn't even notice.
Right.
He'll just think the house is clean. Or I'll say, let's say I've been gone for a few days. The only time I do that is usually for our sister's reunion.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I shouldn't say this, is the house clean? Because his version of clean and mine are not the same. He just says, yeah, it looks pretty good. And pretty good is like a warning flag. Like,
I know.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So I come in and it's, not too bad, but it's not my standard. But I've learned that it's not fair for me to expect him to see things the way I do. If I want it to look that pristine, I need to do it.
Mm-hmm. And that is one of the greatest things I've learned from Fascinating Womanhood in the Understanding Men category. I've learned to let go of so many things, and I'm so much happier because I don't ruminate and begin to, harbor silly resentment against him for, I've learned childlikeness, which is a more direct way of saying something, or asking for what you want. And so that's why you all watching this need to get the book, because it is life-changing. And women who don't even have husbands, there's a fascinating girl. It's, to me, the greatest self-esteem book written for women.
Yeah, I think it's really
Yes.
it's been the sort of the foundation of my life as an
Yeah.
adult. Ever since I decided boys weren't gross, which is when I was about 12.
You know, I always liked boys since I was 5 years old.
Not me. I thought they were sweaty and kind of like they smelled like wet puppies. till I got a little bit older and I thought, hey, they're not so bad.
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you for talking with me today, answering my questions, helping us out. Everybody watching, please like, comment, and share. You can send in your questions to AskDixie@fascinatingwomanhood.com.
Talk to you
Bye.
soon. Bye.